Here is a quadratic equation, and I know it's quadratic because it has an x squared inside of it, and we are asked to solve it with completing a square. Here are the steps. First step is to take the number that does not have an x, which in our case is 28, and move it to the other side of the equal sign by doing the opposite. It's positive 28, so we'll be moving it by subtracting it. Now you have x squared minus 16x equals negative 109. In some questions, there will be no number like this 28 on the same side as the x squared and the x. In this case, you just skip the step. The next steps are not done inside of the equation, but rather done on the side. So I'm going to take the number that is next to the x. In my case, it's negative 16, and I will divide it by 2, which will give me negative 8. And then I will take that result, which is negative 8, and square it, which will give me a positive 64. Now, this positive 64 will be added to both sides of the equation here, and then after the negative 109. So here is how my equation looks like. X squared minus 16x plus 64 equals negative 45. After this, I will be factoring the left side of the equal sign, this trinomial right here, and it will factor to x minus 8 squared. And on the other side, I have my negative 45. From here, I will be solving this equation using the square root method, meaning I will be taking the square root on the left side here and on the right side from my negative 45. The point is to remove the square and the square root all together on the left side, and that will leave me with x minus 8 without anything around it. On the other side, I still have my square root of negative 45. Now this here needs to be simplified, and I will simplify it on the side here again in blue. So the square root of 45, for now we'll just do the positive 45. It is 5 times 9, so I cannot take the square root of 5, but I can take the square root of 9, which will give me a 3. So the result for the square root of 45 is 3 square root of 5. And because my 45 was negative, the result will actually have an I next to it. So it's 3 square root of 5i. Additionally, every time we introduce a square root to an equation, I have to make sure I put a plus and a minus in front of that. So here is what I have here in the equation. X minus 8 equals plus or minus 3 square root of 5i. My final step will be to get the x by itself, which requires me to get rid of the 8. And to do that, I will simply add my 8 to the right side here, because it's minus 8. So here is my answer. X equals plus or minus 3 square root of 5i plus 8. This answer is just fine. Some questions may ask to write two separate answers. In this case, we just write one with a positive 3 square root of 5i plus 8, and another one with a negative 3 square root of 5i plus 8.